Welcome. Um, I am the one and only MSJ, Max for short, and welcome to my first ever live stream. For video, I do play a lot of video game um, streaming, just random video games, whatever I decide for the day. But today, I really wanted to just kind of went through my movies and picked out some movies that I haven't really talked about in a while or haven't really thought. I'm like, oh, this would be fun to talk about, or some thoughts that I'm like, oh, this one is maybe better than the first one, or whatever, or just some personal favorites of mine. So it's a little runs the gambit of a little bit of everything. So, yeah, a little bit of horror, kind of nerdy stuff, horror comedies, and then just kind of just a movie with like a really good soundtrack. So I um since this is my first one and this is kind of very impromptu, I don't really expect a lot of people to be joining in, or if anyone. But I thought it'd be kind of fun just to kind of do some handful of movie reviews that I haven't really had a chance to do, like I said, or just wanted to talk about. So yeah, I have about one, two, three, four, about five movies here that I really want to talk about. Hopefully I'll do this more, and maybe I'll try to kind of pick out a movie from kind of each genre to kind of talk about. And I think it'd be kind of fun. And like I'm constantly um reshooting take after take after take, so maybe this way will help me kind of keep a little bit more coherent thoughts kind of going on to kind of keep me structured a little bit better, because I'm just constantly kind of revising what I want to say, but it just takes a lot of time. Um, so let's just start with a personal favorite of mine. I really love this movie. I quote this movie constantly. It's fun. I am one of these 110%. I am a fanboy. I I love this movie. Like I what's funny is I have movies in my collection that have advertised this movie like trailer wise, and it still didn't come out when it was like supposed to come out, and it was just like, when's this movie coming out? This is like one of the few movies I really kept up on, like trying to get a DVD release on, or trying to find when it came out. And but if you've never seen this movie, it is about a bunch of Star Wars fans who, when they were younger, they decided to, what would be fun to like storm Skywalker Ranch and and just kind of steal a print of a new Star Wars movie. And and then like they kind of all grown up and kind of went their separate grown up, and they've all went in their kind of separate ways. And like they've opened up a comic, like kind of a nerdy comic book store. One kind of like really left that phase behind him and went into used car salesman. And so just by fate, by Halloween night, they are all brought together, and he finds out that one of his best friend, who they've kind of grown apart, they have um he has cancer, and he doesn't really have that much longer to live. And from like through just simple deducing, it's like he's not going to make it until the next Star Wars movie. So like at the beginning of the movie, they talk about how they're doing like a little countdown, like 6 months, some change, and some change, and like he's not going to make it to the premiere. And so that's what this whole premise of this movie is being able to like get him to go storm Skywalker Ranch, steal him a print of Star Phantom Menace episode 1, and so he can see it before he passes away. It's like this is like their one real last big hoorah all together. And it has cameos from everybody. I think I've done like a full video on this before, but it's a lot of fun. There's like tons of cameos. Um, Carrie Fisher, Billy D. Um, who else is in this movie? Like you got Shooter McGavin. Who else is in? Danny Trejo. Uh, I think um, Kevin Smith, Jason Mewes. Just trying. There is like a lot of people, and even our main cast is like kind of like you'll recognize them from anything. You got Dan Fogler from like more recently from the Fantastic Beasts movie. You got Mark Christopher Marquette, which he will show up in another movie later on. Um, you'll recognize him from like what's the movie? Detroit Rock City. Zoe Bell. Or Christian Bell, sorry, from a little bit of like Good Place, I do believe, and then you got Jay Baruchel, so a little bit of it. He's from Knocked Up, and he's the voice of the main dude from How to Train Your Dragon. So this is a very well stacked cast, and it's just fun. It's if you can kind of just step away from the fact that it is kind of nerdy and just enjoy the ride, and just I know this movie is probably really more censored for the hardcore fans, but there's a good story in there for anyone to actually enjoy it. So um, that's just one movie I haven't talked about in a while. Um, Next up is Pirate Radio or Who Rocked the Boat. I think that's the other title for this movie. I love this movie as well in a much different way than Fanboys. Like Fanboys it hits that nerdy aspect of me where Pirate Radio hits the music fandom in me because I just love the soundtrack in this movie. It's fun. It's set, I think, in the '60s where they weren't playing popular songs on the radio, like the rock songs and stuff like that, like the more suggestive songs. And so, like, you have this giant boat out in the middle of the ocean. It's broadcasting these popular songs over the radio, and it's kind of like they're um, basically what the title says, pirate radio. Like they're just kind of commandeering the airwaves and playing what they want. And it's really fun. It's a British movie. It has also a who's who's cast in here. You got Philip Seymour Hoffman, Nick Frost, from Shaun of the Dead and stuff. Bill Nighy, also from Shaun of the Dead, but you may recognize him as like Davy Jones from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. The voice, you will recognize his voice in a heartbeat. Um, so who else is in this? Just a little bit of everybody's in this one, and I just really like this because it's has a great soundtrack. It's kind of centered around one location on a boat out in the middle of the ocean, and just kind of the hijinks that ensues. And I really do like there's some like really cool down moments in the movie where they're just kind of like they're just lounging on the outside um, while it's dark out, just kind of playing a game and just having some like it seems very natural and very fun, and it's a lot of fun. And what there is kind of like a main story to this is where uh, you got this young man who doesn't know his dad, so his mom kind of sends him onto this boat to find his dad, and it's just really funny who the big reveal is. And there's people on this boat that's like there's like kind of a running gag. It's like, who's that? And like, oh, it's like I'm the morning DJ. And like, you have a morning DJ, and so it's really funny. And just it's and then they try to get away with saying the F word on the air. And it is so like that sequence alone is worth the watch. It's a lot of fun, and it's very accessible. Like there's no real graphic content. It's just a lot of like dirty language and stuff like that. So it's like, and I know it's rated R, but it's a lot of fun. It's really is a lot of fun to watch. So I recommend this one if you've never seen this movie before. Now I was going to do a solo review of this movie. I've done this one back way during the very first 31 Days of Fright horror movie project, year one, and I went back and watched it, and like I cannot believe how like um how would you say very like my canter and my emphasis on stuff has not. You can tell I was very fresh faced in making movie and making reviews and stuff. It just was nowhere near what I am today, you know? It's very hard to watch those early reviews because it's just like, "Oh my god, like, I can't watch myself put myself through this, like, just speak up, put some some oomph in your voice, you know, do this," and I think I was strictly doing I had the mindset of just doing a straight review, you know? But so I'm like, this would be a fun movie to kind of go back and kind of have a lot of fun. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just kind of throw it all into like one video. Um, but it is Infestation, also starring Christopher Marquette, who was also in Fanboys. This movie is very underrated. I don't see this movie get talked a lot about because it has really good special effects. The acting is really fun. It's just the premise of the whole movie is it's like I know it's been kind of done before, but it's just doesn't seem low budget. It doesn't seem it it does have its low budget kind of moments, but it's fun. It's a B movie done really well. Like if you I would like to I do this with, like, a double feature with Bubba Hotep, because they both kinda have the similar kind of feel to it, at least to me, because, like, there are, like, obviously moments where the bugs and the special effects in this movie are kind of done very kind of cheesy, but they're very done really, really well. Like they're like they feel cheesy, but they look great. You know, you know what I mean. It's just about these two people. And these are kind of our heroes of the movie. They um, awaken up in this new world where they are like they were cocooned, and they wake up and like everyone like where is everybody? You know, like the beginning of the movie is really good because it's like it shows you how busy life is and like cars driving everywhere, people going to work, being late and stuff like that. Because our hero is kind of a little bit of a slacker, and so and he gets fired in the beginning of the movie, and then like this big loud sound kind of goes off, and then everyone wakes up like several days later. They're all cocooned, and these little bugs are kind of running around, you know. So it's a lot of fun. Like you have several different types. I think you got your kind of like your army bugs, you know, like they're like more like and then you got your wasp kind of with the ones with the stingers and everything, like the yellow jackets and stuff like that. And then you got your hybrids, which is also done really really well, where they are kind of like this character right here. He is a hybrid between a bug and a human, but it's really cool because the legs and stuff kind of protrude out of them, and then their body kind of just like folds up, and it's just really cool. And there's like this one scene where you actually kind of see it like firsthand, and it's like very like oh my god, it's kind of rough because it's done to a character that you really like, and it's like and it's just done really well. And so they're just on a mission to get to his dad's house because he's ex-military, and he kind of know he has that survival instinct and everything, which oddly enough he has too, because you know, with the dad like that, so he there is some stuff that has been ingrained in him, and it's just really fun, and it does have its kind of dark moments, and then it does have its like lighthearted moments as well, especially in the beginning. But it slowly kind of dies down and gets kind of darker throughout the movie. So in terms of tone and everything, so it's this movie just does not get talked about enough. It is a lot of fun. The acting's good. Um, the special effects when it comes to the bugs, like if you have ever seen I'm gonna try to put it this way. If you've ever seen um, Starship Troopers, like the first Starship Troopers, where it's $100 million movie, where all the bugs are done so well, they still hold up to this day. I think the the CGI for the bugs and everything, I still think they look fantastic and everything. Um, and then they decide to do two sequels where the sequel for I think the second one's called like Hero of the Federation or something like that, um, where they incorporate new bugs and everything, which is okay because they kind of want to keep costs down, especially when it comes to the arachnids, big bugs. And then you got to the third movie. I like all the movies; they're fine. Um, Obviously, I fully enjoy the first one. The first one is like a cult classic on its own. A good action, bloody, hard R action movie, sci-fi movie. Paul Verhoeven. So if you know like RoboCop, Total Recall, you know what you're getting into with that. And then when you get to the third movie, the special effects are just terrible. Like they are just like god awful. And this movie is so much better than those. The sequels for Starship Troopers, which started out as $100 million movie, and then they made two kind of less than stellar sequels with terrible special effects. Where the bugs in this movie are done really, really well. There's some nice blending of the bugs and the humans because when obviously when the bugs are kind of like attacking them, it will look fake if they're just kind of like birdemic esque, where they're just kind of swatting out the air, not knowing where the birds were actually going to be. Where this actually they actually have some like stuff to hold on to, like some like the beetles, they kind of have like these little tentacle, like not like these little pinchers on the front. Maybe you can see a little better right there. Um, some like some pinchers on the front where they have something for the actors to kind of hold on to really get into the like the moment, so it doesn't look like they're just like, hey, just hold your hands open and we'll CGI pinchers in there and just kind of flail around. Like nowadays that's probably how it would done, but like there are some good practical effects in this movie. So if you haven't seen this, I'd definitely check it out. I did this way back in the first year of the 31 days, and I just rewatched it recently so I could do a review for it, a solo review. But I'm like, you know what? I think just kind of tag teaming it with some other ones um, was the right choice. So, next up is a kind of another kind of horror comedy, which I also think is a little bit is better than some of the other installments in these guys' repertoire of films. The Broken Lizard guys. Um, Super Troopers, Beer Fest, Slam Salmon, which I actually fully enjoy. Um, but the one I think is their best one is Club Dread. I love this one. I know I'm saying that a lot, but I these are movies I really do love. I'm probably going. I think the next time I do this, I'll try to pick out some movies that I'm not too fond of. Um, so that's probably what I'll do next time. But this one I think is their best, other than Super Troopers. Like the first Super Troopers movie is just hilarious. The that movie's another very one that I quote, uh, not as regularly as I used to, but like ever, like um, um, the whole uh, like littering and smoking the reefer, like just stuff like that, just or um, and just other like quotables that like I was gonna set my country ward on fire, far like or leader cola. That's the one that I always do as well. But this one, I think it's a little bit less quotable, but it has a lot of good moments in this. The kills in this movie are really done, really funny. They're done really well. It's set on it's set on the first Scooby Doo movie. Okay, the live action Scooby Doo movie. If you think of how that movie was going to be rated R, um, and they did it with this movie. Obviously lacking of the Scooby Doo aspect, the CGI dog, but it's set on a resort where a bunch of drunk college kids go have spring break, and then this particular time around, a killer start is on the loose and starts killing people, and it's really funny. Everyone plays different characters than they were in Super Troopers, which I think I really enjoyed a lot, because if they were constantly playing the same character over and over again. There is one quote that I really think is funny, is when you listen to the commentary for this movie, they tell you the joke, the like kind of like the history of the peanut joke, where they're actually um, at a movie, and like Penelope Cruz's name pops up on the big screen, and it's like someone's like, "Who's Penelope?" And then so it's like, okay, so that's where that, and so like the commentary for this movie is just as good. Um, and it's a lot of fun. Like I said, I think this is their best one. I love Beer Fest. I love Super Troopers. I think I'm forgetting one. Slam and Salmon was good as well. I think I'm forgetting one. I know they also did. I know a lot of the crew worked on like the Dukes of Hazard movie. Sorry, I'm looking off. Just trying to make sure I'm not forgetting one. I think I'm forgetting one. But Slam and Salmon, like I really like that one as well, just because it's also kind of set in one location. I love movies like that when they're just kind of just um, in one cool location. I have a lot of movies like that, and so like Clerks, my all-time favorite movie. Um, a convenience store. So yeah, that I think that explains a lot. So um, the jokes in this movie are, I haven't watched this movie in a while, so kind of watching it through today's eyes, maybe some of the jokes may fall a little flat or maybe a little bit more, but I don't think so. I think these are like the jokes in these are pretty good. It's like I like the some of the cool kills. There's like one particular shot in this movie that I think is fantastic, where like they're having this showdown with the killer. The killer's already been revealed. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to tell you who it is. They're kind of fighting in this club area where the lightning there's some lighting effects kind of going on, and they kind of do like Kane and the Undertaker from the WWF, where he just like sits up, and but he does it really slowly, and like just the way it was filmed and everything, and the lighting going on in the background, it's a very effective, cool shot. I really do like that shot. I That's the one thing that I take away from this movie as well. And as well, this movie has Bill Paxton in it playing a drunk Jimmy Buffett-esque character. Oh my gosh, it even goes on this Jimmy Buffett tirade. It's hilarious. I just I think this is their best movie. Um, and finally, the last of the movies I want to talk about is that I am a Eli Roth fan through and through. I love the Hostel movies. I love Knock Knock. I love the the Green Inferno. I love the Green Inferno. And when I was watching the Infestation review, I was talking about how I wasn't really in the torture porn kind of category fan. I'm like, okay, well that doesn't really sound like me. And I'm like, I don't know what kind of mindset I was in when I was doing that, but I'm like, I can understand why I probably said it, maybe. Um, but I do find some of them to be fun. Like I enjoy the Saw movies, and some movies in that genre are just terrible. But the Saw movies are generally done really well throughout all of them. I do like the storytelling throughout those. You can't deny that, I think. But I really wanted to talk about one of the Eli Ross movies is Hostel Part 2. I have not seen the third one. I know that one's set in Vegas, I do believe, but I think out of the two Hostel movies that I've seen, this is the superior one. Just because I like the fact that it shows you more about the hunting group, the elite hunting group. I think that to me, I even though I really like that aspect of not knowing in the first movie, where but with but to really kind of enjoy this one, you can't really have this one without the first one because it kind of shows you like some like it gives you kind of a peek into this world, where you have the two ladies kind of luring them into um being captured and everything to be part of this underworld, um where people pay to kill people. And I really liked how it's kind of a small peek behind the curtain, where this one just opens it straight up and it's like they show you like like when they scan their passports and stuff like that. It kind of goes out to like everybody who's part of this group, and they pay and they bet and they see who can get what or who, and it's just like it's a lot of fun. I really like that aspect of that movie, and I think that's what makes this one a little bit better than the first one, even though I do enjoy the first one as well. But I think this one is funner because I think because the leads are female. um like guys getting killed in the first one, I think, are fine. It's like it's kind of just run of the mill, like guys being guys and they're being killed off. It So there doesn't really have that add. There's an Doesn't feel like there's another stake to it. It doesn't have that extra like oof. It I think that also kind of adds to it, what makes the first one good, because it's a little bit more like, oh, it's not violence against women kind of thing. Where this one, where there's that really cool twist at the end, where I don't want to give it away, but if you haven't seen it, but where the tables get turned real quick on this group, or one particular member of this group, who throughout the movie has been very hesitant about doing it. And it just kind of just does a 180 on her on this guy, and I love it. And it's just like I really like the ending to this movie better than the ending of the first movie. So, but like I said, you can't have Hostel Part 2 without the first one, because the first one does set up a lot of the rules for this one, and this one kind of just expands it, and I just kind of like the expanded version of it. So, um, but yeah, that's really all I got for movie wise for the movies that I selected. But I'll do a quick recap of the movies that I talked about real quick. Um, you got Fanboys. Like I'm just a nerd at heart through and through, and movies about uh, uh, fans who are all friends try to make one fanboy's dream come true of seeing the new Star Wars movie before he passes away. A lot of fun. It's like we're going to have to strip to Menudo. Like if you've seen this movie, that seems really funny. And there's this movie's PG-13. I forgot to mention this, but there is some wording in this movie that is like, oh, I can't believe they're getting away with that in a PG-13 movie. So um, then Pirate Radio, watch this for the soundtrack alone. But there's some really this is a very good comedy drama movie, where it about this guy who's just trying to he's growing up in the 60s with all this music, and being cannot just like, hey, you're going to go live on this boat with your dad, and he doesn't know who his dad is. And so it's not really a mystery. It's just it you kind of forget about that aspect of the movie like until the end of the movie, and it's like, oh, that was a part of this movie. So, and all the characters are great. All the scenes in the movie where they're in the booth and like being on the radio is the highlights of these movies. So, um, then we got Infestation, which I think is a very, very underrated bug movie. There bug movies always have a special place in my heart. Like you got Arachnophobia, probably my favorite bug movie of all time. I got a few on this year's 31 Days of Fright that I don't want to talk about quite right now, but yeah, Infestation. It's a very good bug movie. Try- Starship Troopers, like I mentioned in this review for this particular one, and so it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's a R-rated bug movie. So not as hard R as say Starship Troopers, but it does allow a little bit more freedom to like let this world kind of breathe when it's rated R, so you can kind of get away with a little bit more stuff. So they're just not like fake cussing and stuff like that. Like you would. This is how you would actually say when a giant bug is flying at you. You know. Next up is Club Dread, my personal favorite of the Broken Lizard movies. It's just watch this for Bill Paxton alone. You know, like if I had to pick like one thing from each movie, like if I had to pick to make you watch this, Bill Paxton, he's great in this movie. He's not in this movie very much, but when he's on screen, he steals the scenes, and it's hilarious, and he's great. And finally, Hostel Part Two. I love this movie. It's a fun watch. I may watch it again during the month of October, just for just kind of break up what kind of break up the monotony of what I have planned, um, because I have a lot of movies I gotta watch this year for this month coming up, and like watching some like familiars would be nice, you know. Hostel, I'll watch Trick or Treat, the Thing, maybe we'll see. Depends on how cold it is out that day. Um, Reanimator, you know, like a bunch of movies behind me. Tremors, that will be added this year to my watching list. Not for the 31, but just like to actually watch. So, um, excuse me, if I had like I said, if I had to pick one thing from this particular movie is the ending, you know, I or the being bathed in the virgin's blood. That scene is really cool too. That right there, I think that might be it. Just for the actor's commitment to that scene where she is being hung upside down, naked, and covered in blood. Like I commend that actress 100%. Like that is, I know a lot. Maybe some is doubles and stuff like that, but there are scenes where you can clearly tell that she's being hung up by upside down. So yeah, I commend her 1,000% on that. So yeah, I think that's the one takeaway from this one is that is just her commitment. So that is all. I just had a lot of fun. I think I want to do this more often. Just kind of do more live streams. Um, so it kind of takes the aspect of me editing out of the way. Even though I really do like to edit, but I'm a perfectionist sometimes, so I have to kind of, especially when it comes to like making sure the way I say things and do things. So like, but this way it helps me quite a bit to kind of practice talking and be a little more free flowing, everything. So that is it. I am the one and only MSJ. Click subscribe, hit the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, all that fun stuff. Just doing all that helps me get my channels and videos out there to a much broader audience because I have a lot of fun content on here, unboxings, um, live streams of video games, just what else do I got? Movie reviews. I'm hopefully to start incorporating books. I really want to start reviewing some books that I've read a few times, and so hopefully that will kind of be slowly incorporated, maybe at the beginning of the year. That is all. Thank you, and